to 19 approx. Okay. And during the adolescent phase, there are many changes that are going on in our body. Not only body, physical changes are there, emotional changes are there, social change, and now academic changes will also be there. So what are the challenges that are faced by students in medical college? Number one thing is expectation. Expectation of ourselves, from our family members, from people in the society. That expectation, when it becomes too high, sometimes it will cause stress in medical students. And other reasons are there is greater academic demand now. There will be less time, more work. Nobody will be there to guide you like you were guided when you were in school. And you have to be on your own. Sometimes you start abusing substance. You can have issues with your roommate. You can have problem with your sleep, food habits. Suppose you are coming from a different state to a new state, adjusting with new people, with the new custom, with the new food. All these minute things can lead to stress. So from a study, it was found that medical students have mean anxiety score which is more than those of non-medical students. And because of this chronic stress, students are more prone to develop depression. So what are the signs and symptoms of stress? There are various signs and symptoms, physical signs and symptoms, emotional signs and symptoms, about which I will be talking one by one. The physical signs and symptoms, as you can see, it can be in the form of poor appetite or overeating, abdominal pain, nausea, falling sick too often. Mental signs and symptoms can be feeling low, anger outbursts can be there, low self-esteem, lack of concentration. Similarly, behavioral signs and symptoms include restlessness, nail biting, increased intake of substance in the form of alcohol or smoking. Emotional signs and symptoms can be fits of rage, tearfulness, impatience. So when it comes to stress, it is different for each one of you. The thing that causes stress to one person amongst yourself might not be stressful for the other person. For example, I'll give you a small example. Suppose if a person has fear of public speaking, there are two children, okay? One has fear for public speaking and the other person does not have fear for public speaking. So suppose if a task is given for both of them to come in front of everyone and talk, the same thing will cause stress in one person, whereas the other person will not be stressed. So stress and cause of stress is different for different individuals, and similarly how you deal with that stress is also different for different individuals. So basically, what is the main cause of stress? The main cause is on how we perceive things. Perception is different for different people. Suppose if a task is given during weekend, some people might feel that this is a burden, it has ruined our holiday or weekend, whereas some people will think that this is a good learning opportunity. So it depends on how we perceive the certain situation. Stress depends on that. So what does the stress do to our body? It causes 3 responses in our body, and this was given by a scientist named Hans Seily. He has divided stress into 3 distinct forms: alarm response, resistance, and exhaustion. So what happens in alarm response? This is known as the flight or fight response. All of you might have heard about it. Flight or fight response, what happens at that time? Our body starts preparing for immediate action by secreting emergency hormones. And gradually the body goes into adaptation phase, where the body prepares for long-term protection, secreting hormones to increase the blood sugar level. This phase is not necessarily harmful, but we have to relax in between so that the body does not go into exhaustion phase. When there is prolonged adaptation phase, hormones are continuously coming into action. When there is no rest, if there is no rest for the body, then the body enters into exhaustion, where there will be burnout in the form of emotional, physical, and mental burnout will be there. The body will experience adrenal exhaustion, and that will progressively affect both our mental and physical health. Are you guys understanding? Okay. So how do we deal with stress? There are various life skill management about which I will be talking in detail one by one. So these are the stress management techniques. All of you should, it will be different for all of you. It will depend on how you cope up. It's up to you. So what are the things that we can do to cope up with stress? We can try to make little changes in our life. Learn to recognize when you are feeling stressed and admit that you are stressed, and find out ways how to relax, like simple things like taking a break from your work that is causing you stress. Have a glass of water, get some fresh air, close your eyes for a minute and try to refocus, and always stay positive. And there is no harm in telling other people that you are stressed or you are feeling overwhelmed. There is a very easy technique that is known as deep breathing technique. In deep breathing technique, we teach the patients that whenever you are too stressed, then you are supposed to just close your eyes and not think about anything, or especially the event that is causing you stress. You are just supposed to close your eyes and focus on your breathing pattern. You are supposed to inhale slowly and focus on how your muscles are contracting and how they are relaxing. If you do this for 5 minutes every day, then it will help you in relaxation. So these are some of the basic things that you can do when you are overtly stressed. That is deep breathing, staying positive, caring for oneself, and a little bit of exercise. So these are some of the tips. First of all, you have to understand and you have to admit that you are being stressed. Second, you have to make small changes in your routine activity. You have to communicate with other people. Sometimes you need to ventilate your thoughts. Then you have to show some love to yourself. So there are 3 strategies when it comes to stress control. First is awareness, being aware that you are feeling stressed. And you have to find a balance between positive and negative stress. Like I told you, sometimes we do not tend to know when that positive stress that is known as eustress becomes distress. So we have to try to balance between the two things. And whenever we are getting distressed, we have to try to control the situation or try to change our perspective so that the stress does not cause burnout. So how do we do that? We have to change our pattern of thinking. We have to try to reframe. So what is the reframing technique? It is the technique to change the way you look at the things in order to feel better about them. Suppose we see only negative. Suppose if we are seeing only negative in one thing, okay? So if we think only negative about a particular thing, that will go on in our mind, that will go on like a chain, and that will bring more negativity towards our life, and that will eventually lead to distress. So we have to try to change our perspective of thinking certain things. So we have to understand that reframing will not change the external reality of the situation. Suppose if you are given additional task as compared to your friends. So what do? We sit around, we sulk, we become angry, and we think that this is bias. Our friends are enjoying and we are given extra work. But if we try to reframe our thinking, like, okay, I have got additional chance to learn about the topic in great depth. It will bring a sense of relief, though it will not change the reality that you have to work for double time as compared to your friends. You're understanding, right? But if we try to change our perspective and if we try to reframe that situation, then it will help us in coping. So we have to try to think positive so that we focus on our strength and we look on our opportunities like how I told you right now, and so that we can make a change. Likewise, we can change our behavior also. I will talk about each one of them. Being assertive. Do you understand what is assertiveness? No? Yes or no? Okay, I'll explain it to you. So how do we change our behavior? By being assertive, number one. I will give you one small example, okay? Suppose if you have a deadline tomorrow to submit an assignment, okay? And you are doing your assignment and you feel that like you have to sit up for whole night to complete your assignment so that you submit it on time. And at the same time, your friends, some of your friends, suppose if they say, leave this assignment, let's go out for party. Okay, we can submit it later. But you want to complete it on time and you want to submit it on time. But this is such a situation. If you say no to your friends, they will get angry. And if you leave and go for partying, you will not be able to complete your assignment on time. This is a dilemma situation. Am I right? So at that time, you have to speak up for yourself. How are you going to deal such situations? You have to stand up and you have to say, look, I feel the assignment is more important at this time. You guys go ahead. I will join you the other time. So that you do not annoy your friends. At the same time, you will also not get distressed. This is the example of being assertive. Do you understand? Suppose if your friends say, try smoking or let's try drinking. In college, this usually happens, right? But inside, if you do not want to drink or smoke, you do not know how to react in certain situations. Okay. At that time, you have to stand up for yourself and say no in a very polite way. Okay, that is being assertive, standing up for your right without hurting the sentiment of others. That is assertiveness. Have you understood what is being assertive? So you can change your behavior by being assertive. Get more organized. In getting more organized, one main thing is time management. Time management also I will talk in detail later. You prioritize your objective, duties and activities so that it becomes manageable. And ventilation. Ventilation is also very important because there is a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. So you can share your feelings, your stress, your anxiety with people whom you are very close to, your close friends, your relatives, your family members, your friends. And the next way how you can change your behavior is by humor. Humor is a good stress reducer. And it also pumps endorphin into your circulation. Do you understand what is endorphin? Our body, it naturally produces natural opioid so that it works as a painkiller. So the more you laugh and the more you try to stay happy, more amount of endorphin is released into your body. The next step how you can change your behavior is by diversion and distraction. Whenever you are too stressed, you take a break, calm down, and get away from things for a certain period of time that is bothering you too much, and get it back after some time whenever you feel you have rested a bit. Okay. And change your lifestyle. This is also very important. Get adequate amount of sleep. Keep your leisure activities, exercise. Other options are also there like meditation, massage, yoga, acupuncture, aromatherapy, biofeedback. These are various other techniques. So basically we have finished with how to deal with stress. Is there any query? Do you want to ask something? This is just the beginning of your journey. You still have a very long way to go, and I guarantee that all of you sitting in this room at one point of time, you will be stressed out, and it will be very difficult for you to manage time because it is going to be a bit difficult as compared to before. Okay, so it is very important. In order to prevent stress, it is very important to manage your time very effectively. So, you can read this slide. Time management is very important for medical students because there is a lot of work, there is so much to study, and you have no time for anything. So, how do we manage why do we need time management basically? Time management is required, first of all, to save our time, to reduce the stress, to function effectively, and ultimately to increase our work output so that we can have more control over our job responsibility. Basically, time management is very important to reduce the stress and be more organized. So how to use time effectively? First of all, planning is very important. We have to plan, we have to divide our activities into small tasks. We have to plan, first of all, what are we going to do first? How much of time is required for one particular task? Then we have to set goals and objectives. We have to set deadlines. We have to be responsible and prioritize our things accordingly. And we have to spend right amount of time for the right activities. So the process of time management starts with costing your time. You have to divide your time accordingly. And sometimes if it is required, you have to cut yourself off from picking up your phone calls, blocking out from social media, and investing more time on your assignments, on your studies. Make activity log so that you can plan more effectively. And in this, you have to make logs, and you also have to find high yielding time of the day. Suppose, for example, some of you are more active during night time, and whereas some of you are more active during the morning time. So depending upon that, you have to plan your activity. If you are more active during night time, then prioritize your goals in such a way that you do maximum of your assignment, reading or completing your task at the night time. So accordingly, those who are more active during the morning hours, you can plan accordingly. And you have to set goals. Break your main goal into smaller goals and make a list and revise that list daily. And plan your activities. Prioritize your activities. Pay more attention to tasks which requires more time, and plan accordingly, schedule accordingly, and keep extra time because there are certain unexpected jobs that you have to complete in between. So set a little bit of time, like half an hour, for those unexpected jobs also. And if you follow all of these, it will be very easy for you to achieve goal. Use your time very wisely and love yourself. That is very important. Remember that stress is required for our normal functioning. If there is no stress, then none of us will be able to achieve our goal. But do not become so stressed that you will have a breakdown. Okay. Thank you. Any question? Okay. We have a small announcement to make, okay?